This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Choosing a career as a surgeon or fish and game warden depends on one's ambition and hard work. Different career paths require distinct training criteria to ensure the trainee acquires relevant information to perform the tasks in his/her jurisdiction. Remuneration for every career varies, depending on the nature of specific tasks that the person is required to perform. Introduction. Choosing a career can be a cumbersome event. Not knowing the correct path can be stressful and frustrating. The issue that frustrates us more is that when we finally pick a career, we find that the career chosen is not what we want. Then there's the chance we may have started in the right career, but either we lost interest or worse, our career becomes outdated and we are back to the beginning. Starting afresh or realizing that we may have to go back to square one will once again bring up old memories of how difficult and frustrating it was to decide which career to choose. However, there is hope the second time around, knowing that in-depth research can help create a satisfactory conclusion. This report aims to define what in-depth research on careers is all about. 2 careers were chosen as examples for the report. Examples of careers are a surgeon and a fish and game warden. The report will explore the detailed aspects of how to begin your career path as a surgeon or game warden, then explain the daily activities both careers experience. Finally, it will explain the career's salary on a national average as well as a state-by-state basis. Surgeon job description. The work description of a surgeon is complex and demanding due to the occupant's engagement in the hospital's daily operations. As a professional in the medical field, he or she is expected to perform the following duties. First, the surgeon must be able to repair injuries that the patient has suffered. Second, he/she must be able to correct deformities, thus carrying out minor and major corrective surgical treatments. Third, he/she must be able to prevent diseases by advising the patients on safety issues. Job requirements. The 3 primary requirements for this job include education, training, and experience. In fact, such requirements are compulsory if the surgical treatments are to be carried out effectively. A professional who engages in surgery must fulfill all the requirements to be considered for employment in a hospital. Education. One could only be considered for a surgical career if he or she has undergone proper basic, high school, and tertiary education. The person must have passed the examinations as proof of his or her ability. He or she would be expected to pursue higher education in college, specialized training, and medical institutions. Joining a medical school demands that the interested person possess a bachelor's degree. The person should have done science as a specialization in his/her degree course, with an emphasis on biology and chemistry. Training. After getting adequate education, one proceeds to specialized training. This means that immediately after the person clears college, he or she must pursue a doctor of the medical course with a specialization in surgery. Often, a surgical course takes 5 years so that the trainee acquires technical skills to deal with emerging issues in operation. Experience. In surgery, experience is usually acquired during work. This means that consistency in carrying out operations allows the physician to improve his/her skills. In this regard, a surgical officer who has done the activity for several years will have more experience than someone who just graduated. What to expect while on the job. The job is sometimes horrifying because the surgical officer might meet a patient with multiple fractures, especially if he or she has been involved in an accident. Notably, accidents here could be a result of fire, hot water steam, and motor vehicles. Salary. In the United States, a surgeon's average annual salary scale is $282,504. Moreover, the salary differs based on the person's qualifications and work experience. Fish and Game Warden. Job description. The person involved in this duty is expected to patrol the area of jurisdiction to deter unlawful activities. Second, he/she is expected to scrutinize revelations of unlawful acts that breach the comfort of fish and wild animals. Third, he/she presents warrants of arrest to the offenders, carries out the arrest, and is expected to give evidence in court. The warden is expected to confiscate equipment used in carrying out the unlawful act. He/she also inspects protected areas where fish and wild animals live. Job requirements. The three primary requirements for this job include education, training, and experience. Essentially, such requirements are compulsory if the fish and animals are to be protected from poachers. A qualified warden who engages in fish and animal protection must fulfill all the requirements to be employed in a fish pond and game park. Education. The interested person needs a 2-year course degree at a community college. There are also universities, such as Warden, Ashford, and Kaplan, which offer training that includes criminal investigation, wildlife, and the justice system. Moreover, forensic science is also essential for the person pursuing to be a fish and game warden. Training. Specialized training on issues dealing with fish and game is offered at a specific police academy, where there are experts to equip the trainees with relevant skills in managing fish and wildlife. Experience. A fish and game surgeon gets experience due to his or her long-time involvement in the work. The length of service equips the expert with particular skills in handling situations. What to expect while on the job. The expert expects to encounter poachers as they try to kill wild animals for selfish gains. The person might also encounter dangerous animals such as buffaloes and rhinos. He also expects the predators looking to feast on fish. Salary. In the United States, the average annual salary scale for a surgeon is $55,650. Moreover, the salary differs based on the person's qualifications and work experience. This report on the surgeon's perspective, choosing a career, was written and submitted by a student just like you. The IVPanda samples database hosts thousands of works similar to this one, on various subjects. Visit ivpanda.com to find what you are looking for.